Hello everyone, welcome to part 6 of our Petscop YouTube series. Today we'll be implementing the pets list. I recommend you watch the entire video as there may be some parts that will cause your game to have errors and or mistakes. First, under menus, we're going to add a new folder and it's going to be called resources. Then what we're going to do is create a new resource and save it as pen. This will be our placeholder pet for now, but we will have different pets for future videos. From here, we're going to add a script, new GD script, and I will have some variables here that are exportable. Be sure to also extend to resource. And from here, you're going to also want to have a file of a PNG or JPEG of a pet. And from here, you're going to want to drag for the texture onto here. And from here, we can just set our pet's name and our pet's description. And we're going to set the pet ID to 1. This is in order to reference any checkings when it comes to saving and loading. You'll also want to be sure for any export variables for other textures or other NPCs that you have the correct pet ID. Otherwise, you will not have a correct load-in for the sprite or for the rest of the data. Next, we're going to go and create a new kinematic body. We'll rename this to pet. And then from here, we're going to want to also have a collision. Then we're going to also want a area 2D, or sorry, a normal area, an animation player. You'll also want a sprite 3D. In our case, we have a pretty big sprite, so what we can do is downscale to 5 or 1/2 of the size. You don't have to do this if your sprite is normal though. Then you're gonna have to save and go under NPCs and save as pet. Then we will instance this as a new inherited scene, and we will create our first pet, which will be named Pen. Before we get into this one though, we'll go to our pet file and then we'll go to create a new script. And here we will connect our area to body entered. So feel free to copy or to go to the GitHub and collect the scripts down below. After saving, you can use Control S in order to save. Then we will go over to our pen file, and then we will drag and drop our pen resource file, which has all of our contents here. Then we can just set the name to pen, and then set our ID to 1. And you can save this under NPCs as pen. You could also create a folder, but I will not for this case. And to test that we actually have our sprite working correctly, we can use a camera and so we'll want to actually replace this as sprite 3D in order to avoid that error. You can ignore the error that you'll get asking for if you have caught pen is equal to true, but you can see here that we actually have our sprite loaded in completely fine. You may need to import the PNG file as a 2D pixel because this is pixel art, but it'll depend on you. Now let's move on to our game autoload. So from here, we're gonna want to change it to where we have a caught pen variable. And this way, when the game loads, it'll be able to check if pen was actually caught or not. Then what we're gonna do is go to autoload, and then we will just add a new line for caught pen. Now for the actual UI. What we're gonna want to do is create a new panel. Go into 2D. We'll just stretch it all the way out. Then we'll want to add another panel. We will call this the pet box. And we will add a sprite, a label, which we can rename to name, and another label, which we can name to description. Then what we're gonna want to do is create a button, and we'll call this return. This will just be our return button. Create a script. We'll call it petbox. But before we do that, let's save to menus. Name it to caught pets. And then we'll create our new script called caught pets. From here, we'll just connect our return button under pressed, and we will do QQ free. What we're gonna do next is save this as a this branch as scene, which I did by right-clicking on, and then we'll go into menus and save this as pet box. Click on the little clip here, and then we will edit the box a little bit. Now we will go over to create a new script. And from here, we're going to want to also have our export resource. And then variable pet details is equal to null. Export integer var pet ID equal to 0, or whatever pet ID you're going to select for your specific pet, depending on the box. You can just click the up or down, and you'll be able to specify for different pets that you want to add inside of the menu. Just a little quick rundown. We're just calling the function if pen has been caught, and this will also signal into the game that pen should no longer be inside of the world. And now that we're here in the menu, we can just readjust a couple of things, couple of nodes. Then we can go into our world and remove the NPC that we currently have, but we can add pen. And we may have to readjust pen and edit him just a little bit. here I'm gonna do Control D, and then I can duplicate this node over here. Now in order to actually initialize our menu, we're gonna have to go over to our pause menu. Then under pets, we're going to type a couple of the following. First, under pets, we'll just get rid of this and add var caught pets equals load. From here, you're gonna want to make sure you have the correct path to your tscn file for the caught pets. So you can do Control-Shift-C, or you could do copy path, copy and paste it there. Then from there, you'll want to do var caught instance is equal to caught pets dot instance. Then we'll add child caught inst. Also, a little tip is you can do Control-Shift-Alt-S to save all files all at once. Make sure that when you add new content to the project, you're going to go to Open User Data Folder and delete any old saves in order to safely initialize any new add-ons. One mistake I made before we tried testing is under pet box, you want to also be sure to drag and drop your pen.tres or whatever pet file that you have. Also be sure to set the pet box pet ID to whatever ID of the pet that you have. Then we can do Control S to save, and then we will test our game. Now that we've loaded in, we can press start, click on our save. Then we can walk over to pen, our pet, and then we can click on escape, go to pets, and then you can see that the resource file has saved and provided a sprite, a name, and also a description for our pet. I've rebooted the game just to test our saves. So we can press start, go to the same save. As you can see, pen is not here anymore, but if we go to our menu, all the details will be saved here. If you like this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, be sure to recommend these videos if you feel like anyone would be able to make their own game with this. And I'll see you guys in the next video.